again. Just got through raining. So, my job's pretty boring. I go from point A to point B all day. Literally. Point A to point B. So, after a while it gets kind of boring. It's either Snapchat, Instagram, or surfing the internet, right? In my spare time. Recently I found this blog. You can post anything basically. Well, some guy posted short stories. He titled it A Western Story, and then the title, and then the story. Another person posted a funny story, a Christmas story, a happy story, a family story. So, it was missing something. A scary story. So, this is my post, and I hope you enjoy it. I've never had an experience to share on here until recently. I don't like thinking about it. Just kind of tried to forget about it. This is the first and last time I'm going to tell this story. I work for a company installing cable, phone, internet, and security systems. The work is pretty easy, and the pay is great. Old buildings or newly built buildings are the most difficult, since I have to lay down new lines from the outside through walls, since existing outlets are absent. But it's basically point A to point B. One day I get dispatched to a location highlighted in green, which means the location will not have existing outlets. So, I'll have to make sure I have plenty of cable and fittings to make all the connections. Basically, I'm going to have to earn my money today. Before I leave my terminal, I make sure I have all the materials and more. My supervisor gives me a little info on the location. It's basically an old building being renovated into various offices. One suite is requesting the works: phone, cable, and internet. Great, I think to myself. Gonna be an all-day job. I pull up to the building, brand new coat of paint, and really nice looking landscape. And there are about 5 different office space available signs posted from different real estate companies. As I send dispatch a message telling them I've arrived, a black luxury sedan pulls up. You can see a reflection on the body of it. It's waxed to a mirror shine. I get out and introduce myself. The gentleman is wearing a dress shirt, tie, and slacks. Hello. I'm here to install these services. I hand him a tally of requested items. Yes, you were right on time, he says. Follow me. He unlocks the front doors. Inside, the smell of fresh paint and that new office smell washes over us. Clearly, this building was just remodeled. He leads me down a hallway, the last door on the right. I'm in the process of moving my office from my home to here, he says. Oh, no problem, I tell him. Around 1 or so, the movers will arrive with all of my things. He opens the door. The office is huge and empty, except for a single piece of paper lying in the middle of the room. He walks towards it. He picks it up. He looks at it, confused, for about 30 seconds. I finally ask him, "What do you do for a living?" I break his focus as he crumbles up the paper and puts it in his pocket. Still looking confused, he answers, "I'm an attorney." He tightens his tie. "Oh, okay, that's great," I tell him. He nods and clears his throat. "I'll be around the area running errands. I can be reached here." He hands me a card with his numbers on it. "Okay, thanks," I tell him. He nods his head, looks around, and leaves. The job wasn't nearly what I thought it was going to be. His office was the last one towards the back of the building, right next to the service pole, outside. I climb up the pole and set up all my lines required. Then I climb down and start tacking them under the roof, down the building, and through the walls. As I'm running my last cable outside into the wall, I hear grass shuffling, footsteps getting closer and closer. A woman calls out, "Hello?" I peek around the corner. "Yes, ma'am." "Oh, hi," she says. "Hello," I say back. She's an older woman wearing workout gear. "Guess they finally started filling this place up, huh?" "Yes, ma'am. I'm here installing services for one client." "Well, that's good. This was an old uniform supplier." "Oh, really?" I said. "Yes, from police uniforms to milkman uniforms. They would wash, dry, and repair them." "Oh, really? Did they move to another place?" I asked. "No, I think they got shut down. They had these heaters and boilers for hot water they were using and didn't have an up-to-date ventilation system. They tried installing a new system, but they had an accident. And they shut down after that." "An accident? Like a bad accident?" I asked. "Oh, yeah. They had a maintenance man in the vents trying to figure out measurements or something of that nature, and a wave of carbon monoxide washed up and killed him dead." "Oh my God. That's terrible," I said. "Yeah, it's a real tragedy. But that's good that they're getting some use out of it now." "Well, just wanted to see what the action was over here. I gotta get my heart rate back up." She laughs. "Have a good day." I wave thank you. "You have a good one too." I head back inside to arrange the cables and place markings to where I need to cut the drywall out to install the new outlet housing boxes, when all of a sudden I hear a faint whisper. It stops me in my tracks. I hear it again and again. Itchy, super false. It gets louder, and I can hear it. It becomes clear. Itchy, super false. It repeats. Suddenly, it becomes like a chant. Loud, so loud it's deafening. It's all I can hear. And then, the door opens. Is something wrong? It's the attorney. He's standing behind me. I look around and ask him if he heard that. He says, "I didn't hear anything." I wipe my eyes and look around again. I'm terrified. I turn to him and I say, "Eche." But before I can finish what I had just heard, he stops me. "Would you step with me outside, please?" And he gestures to the door. "Bring your tools, please." He patiently waits while I gather my things. We walk outside. He closes the door and locks it. "I'd like to cancel my service. How much do I owe you?" I'm confused. And I tell him, "Well, I have to set up a cancellation tally that summarizes the materials and an installation fee." He nods. I pull out my tablet and send off the request. I overhear him on the phone canceling the movers. Shortly after, my supervisor calls me to ask me what the problem is. I tell him the customer simply wants to cancel installation. He asks me if I did anything wrong. I tell him no, and I tell him I was just about to install the rest of it and test the systems out. "Well, okay." He pauses. Then he says, "I'll talk to you later." and hangs up. I need a signature from the customer to finalize the cancellation. He signs it and hands the tablet back to me. He turns around and looks back at the building. They really should have just tore this thing down, he says. After the accident, I say. He turns back to me, white as a sheet, as if he's seen a ghost. He pauses, and then he reaches in his pocket and pulls out the crumbled piece of paper from earlier during the day. He studies it. Then he folds it neatly and hands it to me. It's Latin, he says. He shakes my hand, walks away, starts the car, and drives off. I open the folded piece of paper. I can barely make out the letters on it, like someone was shaking with their eyes closed and tried to write. I head to my service van, start it up, reach for my phone. I open a translation app. It's Latin. I begin to type each letter in.
Ecce super vos. Look above you.
I drop my phone, and I drive off as fast as I can. And I hope I never see what was trying to get our attention that day. What was trying to get us to look up.